I was a single woman at the time, supported myself, lived in an apartment. I had just moved into this town. It was founded by the Mormons in the 1800s, and years later they built a Mormon temple. Of course now it's grown in size and filled with all types of people and religious backgrounds. But I had no idea when I moved into this town that the One Kingdom Hall was founded by Mormons. They were all Mormons that became Jehovah's Witnesses. The primary reason was money. They were tired of the mandated tithing of their income and knew the Jehovah's Witnesses had a donation arrangement, but you could decide on what that amount would be. There was not a mandate to garnish your wages. Yes, there are similarities with both religions. They use the name of Jehovah and they believe in marriage as soon as possible to start procreating and giving birth to more members of the society, and so forth. But here I was unmarried, so I got the mandatory visit by an elder and a ministerial servant, both men of course. You know, in the JWs, only men are in the leadership roles. My publisher's card had followed me to this new congregation. But they still always do a shepherding call to find out my personal details and history. So these two men asked my sexual history. They asked who my family was, do they have connections with anyone rich or famous. They looked around my apartment and saw I was obviously not a wealthy woman. I was already in my 30s, so they knew my chances of marrying one of the brothers in the Kingdom Hall was next to nothing. Without money or youth, you have nothing to barter with. So, I passed their inspection and was basically ignored in the Kingdom Hall because I was single. The groups of families all had 4 or more children each. They just stared at me as an oddity. Everyone in that Kingdom Hall had large Mormon families. I watched all the beautiful little blonde children as I sat there with my brunette hair. The very old people in the congregation all sat together, and I was grouped with them. One of the elders' wives invited me to a formal luncheon at her mansion, of which I accepted. You see, I lived in the poor side of town, but there was only one Kingdom Hall, so there were the wealthy Mormon Jehovah's Witnesses and me. I thought it would be nice to get to know the other sisters in the Kingdom Hall, and I was shocked to find out what kind of group I had landed in. It was the beginning of the end for me. I was going to flee this Mormon Jehovah Witness religion once and for all. So I walk into this elder's wife beautiful mansion. I was led by the maid into the back open spacious kitchen and dining area that looked out onto the pool. The elder's wife offered everyone hors d'oeuvres of raw fish sushi rolls, but I stated I was vegan. This elder's wife literally sneered at me in a low howl. Oh, you're one of those. Yeah, I guess I was. The luncheon was all finger foods, small bite-sized sandwiches, tea or wine to drink. The elder's wife invited an aged old woman to come and bring her photo album, and we all had to stand around and look at her old photos of people we had no clue who they were. Then the elder's wife passed around Xerox copies of something. It was a prepared handout. I had no idea what was going on. But as we were eating and drinking, this handout showed explicit photos of a woman getting an abortion in a hospital. The shock was devastating to me. I didn't know what was going on. That elder's wife made sure we all saw the graphic photos and then gave her speech about pro-life. Some of the young sisters at this luncheon were then given a tutorial on how to have relations with their husbands to improve their chances at pregnancy with each sexual encounter. As she gave her prepared speech, my eyes glanced upward at idols she had placed in recessed areas of a bookshelf all around the room. The stone images were of gargoyles with demonic faces, grimacing, appearing to laugh at us at this perverted luncheon. I started to feel dizzy, as all these people at the party kept stuffing their faces with raw fish, glaring at the graphic abortion images. I put down the graphic images and said my goodbyes. I thanked the host for inviting me and walked out the door. That Sunday when I went to the Kingdom Hall, an old crone came up to me and asked me why I was here. I said, "You know what, lady, I have no idea. I left the Kingdom Hall and never returned." I phoned one of the elders and said I am taking an extended trip to see my family and do not know when I will return. I didn't wait for a response. I hung up the phone and never stepped foot back inside a Kingdom Hall and never will. Fast forward, and I now have my own home. After a few weeks at my new house, a Jehovah Witness woman began stalking me. She sent letters to me with my exact full name and address. The return address was the Kingdom Hall address. The letters are handwritten, all about the time of the end and how everyone will die but the Jehovah's Witnesses. Her handwriting and her fingers touching the paper all contained her DNA, which was the intent of the JW's writing personal letters. It's their own form of casting spells. I ignored the letters, I ignored her knocks on my door, as I burn each and every letter in my fireplace doing return to sender, reverse spells on that Kingdom Hall address where these letters came from. That Kingdom Hall has since burned down and the stone masonry that it was built with has returned to hell where it came from.
For more videos, don't forget to subscribe to this channel.